But right now, I'm talking about the Montreal Alouettes and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing in the streets and on Twitter and just everywhere right now. Disgruntled Alouettes fans that are jumping off the bandwagon as fast as they can, not watching the games anymore, disgusted, angry. And to some degree, they can want a team to win. There's no question about that. But now is not the time in this city to be fickle about the Montreal Alouettes. This is a team, need I remind people out there, this is a team that has not missed the postseason since they've returned to the Canadian Football League in 1996. This is a team that's been in how many Grey Cups, Smokon, since 96?
Oh, wow. I think it's 8 or 9.
They've won 3. They've lost 5. I think 8. I think it's been 8. I'm going to say 8. He's doing the math in his head. He's using his fingers.
Give me like 3 seconds. Carry on.
I believe it's 8. All right. And so all I hear now is, we have a 40-year-old quarterback. Yeah, this defense stinks. Nobody's going to the games anymore. Thanks, Mo. 8 Grey Cups is what Mo's saying. I can't watch this team anymore. Really? Guess what, Montreal sports fans? What do you think the Hamilton Tiger Cat fans have seen over the last 10, 15 years? What do you think the Toronto Argonaut fans have seen over the last 10, 15 years? What do you think the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans have seen over the last 10, 15 years? Take out 3 competitive years for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. What do you think they've seen in the last 10, 15 years? You're spoiled. You're spoiled, and you don't know how good you have it. The Montreal Alouettes are struggling right now. They're 2-3 on the season. They're still in a playoff spot tentatively. It's going to be tough to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough to turn things around. And I'm not altogether happy with what I'm seeing from the team. However, shame on you. Shame on you for dumping on the Alouettes as much as you're doing right now. And you know who you are out there. This is a team that goes out and gets the best American talent out of little-known, obscure colleges. This is the same team that sticks their neck out and gives unheralded, sometimes with troubled pasts, stars from college in the U.S. chances to excel here. They haven't gotten things right this year. They didn't get things right last year, probably because of injury. I'm willing to bet anything that if they had a fairly healthy team last year, they would have won 3 straight Grey Cups. So if you throw last year's team aside, they've made some mistakes this year. Perhaps getting rid of all those veterans maybe was a bad choice, but they've been trying to move on, trying to regenerate themselves on the fly. And for anybody out there who says that it's time to move on from Anthony Calvillo, doesn't know football. Has anybody seen the numbers that he's put up this year when he gets protection? Anybody see the numbers he put up last year, particularly in that loss to the Hamilton Tiger Cats? What do you have, 500 yards in the loss? Oh, yeah, he's finished. Hang him up to dry. Let's bring in Alex Brink. Much better quarterback. I'd rather Drew Tate because he's been proven for more than 6 games in the CFL. I think it's absolutely shameful that people are not going to games right now and supporting the team when they need it the most. This is a team that is always on the fringe of scaling back in terms of how much money they put into the team and how much they're respected in the community because people only support a winner in this town. Well, if you're going to Canadians games when they stink, then you should be going to Alouettes games when they're not having their best season. You give them that same latitude. All right? 21,000 fans when they used to have a waiting list. Not good enough. We should be able to support 25,000 fans for a Canadian Football League game in this town. The product of CFL is still great. It is. The defense is not great this year. They're struggling because receivers are dropping balls. They're not giving the ball enough to Brandon Whitaker. I get all of that. But this is also a warning to you, Alouettes fans. You lost this team in the 80s. All right? Technically, you lost the Concords. They were going to be the Alouettes, and then they folded again I believe it was 87. You lost this team once. Don't lose it again. Don't put this team in jeopardy. You have a gem of an owner Robert Wettenhall is a gem of an owner from all we've heard in the background. Don't alienate him. Don't let him sell this team. Don't let him go. You saw what happened to the Expos when Charles Bronfman left. Don't let Robert Wettenhall see a reason to leave this team. Don't let Jim Popp leave this team. Good Lord. Jim Popp cannot go anywhere. All right? You heard a caller earlier, Brian calling Jim Popp pompous. Fine. He's a human. He makes mistakes. We don't know yet if Jeff Reinbold's hiring is a mistake because it's only 5 games into a CFL season. But Jim Popp has been right more than anybody in the last 10 years in the CFL on personnel. I don't think anybody can dispute that. I don't think anybody of his rivals can dispute that. Don't be spoiled. Show fans across this country that the CFL is alive and well in Montreal, and it's not all about winning, that we like football here, that we enjoy and embrace the Canadian Football League. Look, people want to make fun of the Canadian Football League because they have 8 teams, because the salaries aren't like the NFL, because we don't have teams in Ottawa or Quebec City or across the country like we should. But the bottom line is, as the cheesy slogan has said for many years, it is our game. All right? How cool is it that we do have a league that is uniquely Canadian, with Canadian players playing in the league, that the Canadians have a chance to play professional football in their own country and sometimes in their own city. That's pretty darn cool. We've seen other leagues try and do it in other sports, right? Baseball, it's failed, and soccer's tried, and so on and so forth. It is very, very cool that the Canadian Football League has a league that's been around 100 years and is still going strong. It's got its faults, got an owner owning a couple of teams. That's not good. But for the most part, it's great football, and it's our football. And this is a team that 2 years ago won its second Grey Cup in a row, and now you're going to turn your back on them and say the quarterback's old? I don't know. A couple wins this year. Anthony Calvillo looked lights out to me. I don't know what you guys have been watching out there. It's not the age of the quarterback that they're losing these games. It's the pass protection. It's the inconsistencies on defense. It's the new coaching staff involved. It's bad luck. It's whatever it is. It's the other teams getting better. Hamilton's much better. Toronto, much better. Support your team when they need it the most right now. All right? Don't abandon the team and see the attendance go down to 10,000 and see the owner sell it off and see everything spiral out of control. This is the time to back the Montreal Alouettes. They're 2-3. They can still go on a bit of a run. They can still have a great season. Remember, the BC Lions were 1-6 last year, and they won the Grey Cup. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. The fans in this city should give these players more than what they're getting right now. You don't like it, send us a tweet. We'll read it out in respect. TSN Matthew on Twitter.com. GamePoints here on TSN 990. Wrapping up the segment here. We do have football talk, X's and O's with the Alouettes coming up with Mo Khan at 7:20 tonight. So don't miss that. Mo, as we part the segment here, your thoughts? Do you see this thing maybe spiraling if they get on a bad roll record-wise this year?
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, if they were to lose on Friday, they'd be tuned for last place going into their bye week. Not the great way to end off the quote-unquote first half of the season here. But there's still plenty of time left for this team to get much better, which we'll talk about in the second hour of the show.
The worst record this team ever had, 8-10, and they made the playoffs. All right, you guys are spoiled out there. Have we seen a 1-17 year? Have we seen a 3-15 year? No, we haven't. We haven't, because this is a good ownership group. This is a good management group with Trestman and Jim Popp. Don't blow it, folks. Support them. It's GamePoints here on TSN 9.